final preparations are being made for the arrival of President Trump, who's due to land in the UK this evening for his second visit, this time as a guest of the King. He will spend Wednesday at Windsor Castle and Thursday at Chequers, the Prime Minister's country residence. Our diplomatic correspondent James Landell has been assessing the importance of the visit.
Windsor Castle awaits, the focus of this state visit, where Donald Trump will be afforded all the pomp and pageantry the British monarchy can afford, beginning with a carriage procession through the royal estate. They'll be guarded on Wednesday by an escort formed by the household cavalry, who've spent days preparing. In all, some 1,300 troops and 120 horses will be involved, far more than most state visits.
This is a full sovereign's escort, which means that the whole regiment is behind this effort, and it's the biggest sort of parade that we can put out as the household cavalry. So in terms of that, it's a big parade for us.
And this is why the government wants to put on an even bigger show than Mr. Trump was given 6 years ago during his first state visit, when he was a guest of the late Queen. A second such visit, unprecedented for a politician. For the Americans, it's about the optics, the television pictures of the president enjoying the ceremonial honours. For Sir Keir Starmer, who saw Mr. Trump in Scotland in July, it's about using soft power to cement a relationship with an at times unpredictable ally. At a meeting at his country residence, Chequers, on Thursday, the Prime Minister's expected to agree a new technology partnership with the president and get a word in his ear on key issues such as tariffs and Ukraine. But there are risks too, of rows over the sacking of Lord Mandelson as ambassador to the US over his friendship with the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, and policy differences over free speech and Palestinian statehood. Protests are planned too, as there were last time. Polls suggest Mr. Trump is not popular in the UK, raising questions about what people think of him being honoured in this way and what officials say is the national interest. One thing is clear, people will have little access to this state visit, which will take place away from London, amid tight security behind a ring of steel. James Landell, BBC News.
Well, let's go live to Westminster and speak to our political correspondent, Ian Watson. And Ian, a lot of people will be following this visit. This is a crucial visit for the UK.
It is, yes. It's, of course, his second state visit. He was here in that capacity during his first term as president. But certainly politically, this is important for the government. I don't think Keir Starmer was expected quite such a tumultuous political backdrop when he gave that letter to President Trump, inviting him for a state visit when he was in the White House at the beginning of the year. But nonetheless, there are important items to discuss, including a tech deal. There is going to be an attempt to try to get the promised reduction in steel tariffs through. There's still been problems with the US on that. They're concerned about where some of the raw materials originate from. And in addition to all the pomp and ceremony we're going to see over the next few days, there will be, we believe, a press conference with the Prime Minister and the American President on Thursday. He'll be at the Prime Minister's country residence, Chequers. But, of course, the questions may not simply be about the US-UK relationship in terms of important issues as they are, technology, steel, defence, Ukraine. It's also likely, I imagine, that people will still be asking questions about a recent ambassador to the US, Peter Mandelson, and links to Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, Donald Trump very keen to avoid any of those questions himself. Many of his supporters were expecting the so-called Epstein files to be released. He says they don't exist, and suggested when he was asked about the topic in the past that it was, quotes, boring. So I imagine it's something which neither man really wants to talk about, but I don't know if they'll be able to avoid it.
And on that question of Lord Mandelson, the Prime Minister will be facing further scrutiny in Parliament over his appointment.
Well, that's right. An emergency debate has been granted by the Speaker, a 3-hour debate which gets underway at lunchtime. The veteran Conservative MP David Davis asked for it, and this will be further discomfort, I think, for the Prime Minister. I don't expect him to be replying to any of this. It's likely to be a government minister, probably a Foreign Office minister, replying to it, but it will keep the focus on Keir Starmer's judgment. Why did he appoint Peter Mandelson in the first place? What did he know about Peter Mandelson's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein at the time of his appointment. The Prime Minister, of course, to be clear, said that he did not know the content of some of the emails that were in the public domain when he defended Lord Mandelson almost a week ago at Prime Minister's Questions. It was after that he found out about what he called the nature and the extent of the relationship between Lord Mandelson and Jeffrey Epstein at that point. And then the following morning, of course, he said he was withdrawing him as ambassador to the US. Nonetheless, the Conservatives, I think, will be pushing very strongly to get more information on what happened during the vetting process for Lord Mandelson. They've been calling for documents to be made available and anything which the Prime Minister would have seen before approving that appointment. Irrespective of whether they succeed in getting those documents, I think it's highly unlikely that they will. Nonetheless, they know there's a lot of discomfort on the Labour benches in the House of Commons, and that's something which I think they'll be seeking to exacerbate later on today.
Ian, thank you. And of course, we're following that emergency debate happening in Parliament today here in the UK. Ian Watson, thank you.